right, then you can start recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kubernetes 115 release meeting. It is week 5. We are recording this and it will be posted to a public YouTube channel. So please remember to observe the Kubernetes code of conduct, which basically means don't be a jerk. And with that, let's kick it off and I will pass it.
Hold on a second. I'm actually going to make an announcement really quick. So 2 things to note. There is a new release managers channel within Slack. So I would like for everyone to direct any release-related releasey things, building branches, cutting releases, anything like that, directed into the release managers channel moving forward. The second one is we have a release team board now, a project board. And I will pop that in the chat soon. I did some loose prioritization on the release team, the release engineering, sig-release overall, and the licensing subprojects. There are a lot of things to burn down at this point. I mean, like over 150 issues. So if you're actively working on an issue, if you don't have anything to work on and would like to work on something, there are things that are tagged with help now. If there are things that are on the board that you are already working on, be sure to move them in progress. So everything has been prioritized by milestone, priority, kind, areas, so on and so forth. If you see anything that's missing, please let me know. If you don't have access to do certain things, let me know as well. Okay, go for it.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Cool. Then with that, if there are no questions for Stephen, I hear none. We can pass it over to Kendrick to do an enhancements update.
Sounds good. Just what I want on another Monday morning is yet another Slack channel I need to now maintain and watch. So that's fantastic. I'm just messing. Thanks, Stephen. But with what's going on, we've got we had enhancements freeze Tuesday. It kind of trickled in till about this morning with exceptions and everything like that sort of came through. We've got one that's still sort of outstanding, waiting to kind of see what's happening with that one because the KEP is still in a provisional state. But at this moment, we're looking pretty good. We've got 46 that are on the board, ready to start being tracked as we start heading into code freeze. So that's pretty good from what we had. It was pretty chaotic for, I'd say, a good Monday and Tuesday with new things that were coming online, some things that were dropping off because we had like 36 last week, and then all of a sudden it kind of bumped up, and then it sort of started leveling out. So it there was a lot of activity that was happening in regards to that. Some of the statistics are on the sheet, as everybody can probably see. So we have really just down. It says down 1 from last week, but really there was actually about 10 additions because there were 12 that were moved from the milestone and 2 that were also deferred. So there's a lot of activity that was technically happening inside of the particular repo. So what we have going forward, we got 23 alpha features, 19 beta, and 4 with inside a stable. So that's what we have to look forward to for our 115 release cycle.
Awesome. Thanks, Kendrick. Any questions from anyone on the call? All right. If not, we can move on to CI signal. So I will pass it over to George.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Monday. So in the world of CI signal, everything is looking a little bit clunky, but it's actually not that bad. So master blocking, the one thing to look out for is that there's a unit test that went straight and has been causing one of the jobs to fail. Everything else that is flaking, again, we just need to give it more time and see how it behaves. But nothing looks too bad right now. Master upgrade, so 4 jobs failing, 4 flaking. Again, nothing serious. Some of the jobs with a lot of failures don't have consistent test failing, so that makes me think that people are just doing a lot of work on KK, and but other than that, everything looks stable. Master informing, that one needs a little bit of love. There's a so one of the issues that we've been tracking for a couple of weeks. We actually mislabeled it. It turns out that it's one of the tests that is owned by scalability, and we got in contact with SIG scalability. They're doing their work. Apparently, there are a couple issues that came up with the bump to Go 112. Some performance issues that they are seeing somewhere. If you're interested in those type of things, you can click on the link and follow the conversation along. Really interesting. Other than that, Vsphere conformance testing. I know that the PM board people are looking at it, but I don't have a story to tell there yet. OpenStack. There's still an open issue with Open Labs, the place where they're actually doing running their CI jobs, but everything on the master informing job in itself seems to be behaving okay. And that's it. That's it for this week. Any questions, comments, concerns that you all have? Sounds good to me.
Thanks, George. Okay, then we can move on to bug triage. So that would be Nicholas.
Hi, everyone. Nicholas couldn't make it today, so I will be giving the update on his behalf. I'm Ninai, bug triage shadow. Nothing much in bug triage this last week. Nicholas has created a bug issue tracker based on issues and PRs around the currently accepted k8s. I have shared a link to the spreadsheet in the meeting notes. And I'm sure every update will do. Anybody interested can follow up on the progress there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ninai. Any questions for bug triage? Okay. If not, we can go on to test infra.
Hey everyone, we had about 123 PRs merged last week and about 501 PRs overall in the release. Prov was running fine, no major issues. May 7th is the date we marked in the timeline for renewal of the and actually merging the removal of 1.11 jobs with the addition of 1.15 jobs because that makes the task easier. I think historically we merged, as we split this task so that number of config file changes are lesser and you could spend less time making manual changes, but I think that actually makes the job, doubles the job because you have to modify the same config files. So I recommend merging the cycle rather than doing it twice and making a permanent change in the timeline, templates, etc. We did this in the last cycle. We recommended that in the meeting too. So, and we followed it. So I think I recommend doing it again this time. Up to the release team to make any comments or do this. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks. Any questions for Dwal? All right. Hearing none, we can go on to docs update. So I'll pass it over to Barney.
Hi, everybody. So a couple of things that we have done today. We met with the team on Friday and discussed on the important dates and what to prioritize. That was one. So the enhancement freeze was last week, and we started tracking those issues and starting asking owners if those issues need docs. I have distributed the task among the members. So all the members have been assigned issues so that I can start asking issue owners if those enhancements need docs. Another thing, I've created the placeholder PR that we merge at the end of the release. I've linked it in the docs. I think that's it. So we focus from this week to May 30. I mean, we start asking people who have enhancement if they need docs to start opening up, press all the PR for that. Yes, that's it.
Awesome. Any questions for docs? Okay, if not, I will pass it over to release notes.
Okay, we have a bit more of a lengthy update this week. More, not so typical for release notes, but anyway. So we have, I put up the draft PR for this week. There's a link to it. And we got together to have a meeting last week, all the members of the release notes team. So we had a couple of things to discuss that I'm just going to update everybody on. So we're continuing development of the release notes website with the first version being targeted for this release, 1.15. So Jeff is working on finding a website to host the release notes website currently, like an address. And we had some questions that came up for the initial design that we thought we could ask the members of the release team just for some initial feedback. So I created a survey with SurveyMonkey. It's here. If I can drop it in the chat, but it's in the notes, the team meeting notes for everybody. And it's really short. It's like 3 questions. It's very simple, straightforward, hopefully. So if you could just take a couple minutes and fill that out, that would be great. We're hoping to create a more in-depth survey for the website once it's actually released to get feedback from users to guide development for the second version of the website that would be targeted like 1.16 or 1.17 going forward. And we still have a lot of questions about release notes that don't have great answers right now, like what is a release note even is as the most basic one. Like, do we include all the bug fixes? Do we not include some smaller bug fixes? So those are questions that are still out there. We are also hoping to add some new labels that developers could hopefully tag onto their PRs, like primary SIG, that would help release notes to sort the notes more effectively, and whether or not the release note is a dependency or has dependencies that we wouldn't be able to recognize otherwise, or it would just make it easier for us to sort them and to make sure we include everything that's important in the release notes. We were also thinking about having a hidden field in a PR to fill in the KEP number, since we're having a lot more KEPs. And it would help to align which PRs go with which KEPs. So those are all things that we're thinking about going forward. That's it.
Great. Thank you, Lindsay. Would this survey be something you'd want to share more broadly with the whole community, or is the survey only for the 1.15 release team?
We should share it broad.
We could. We were thinking for the first version, it's maybe not that crucial, but yeah, we can definitely share it to whoever.
Cool.
Lindsay, is there anything you need from the chairs? Lindsay, Jeff, to push this forward?
So we still never really got a clear answer on whether the release notes code, well, the website code should sit under k8s or
you can move it out. You can move it out.
Okay. Not sure.
Great.
Done. All right. That will probably start happening this week.
Cool.
Yeah, and then I think anything else would probably be for future releases, but we can start talking about things.
Tag me on any of the K-org issues.
Sure.
For migrations.
Okay. Any other questions for release notes? All right, if not, we can move on to comms. So I have an item in my to-do list to go chat with SIGs about the themes that they're looking at. So maybe if you want to add me and my shadows as well to some of these threads, we can divide and conquer going through all the SIGs to see what themes everyone is looking at.
Please add me to any of those. The themes kind of leads to a PM concern, and like it should be clear by the KEPs that they're submitting. And it should be clear by the things that are on the enhancements tracking sheet. So if it's not clear, then we have a problem, or we have the problem that we've had for a while. Yeah, for sure. I think we're hitting like a convergence point where people are talking about issue triage and themes and product management overall. So I think that like hopefully we'll have some productive conversations about this during KubeCon. Cool.
Cool. Anything else for any other questions for comms? All right, hearing none, we can move on to branch management. So we'll pass it over to Cheryl and her team.
Hi, hope everyone's week is going great. Just one thing for tomorrow, I would be cutting for Alpha 3. And in preparation for the beta cut, I'll be gonna sync with George on finding a time to do a branch forward. Would happen sometime May 14th. One more thing I'd like to add is that it's gonna be my finals week soon. So this week and the following week is gonna be super busy for me. I'll try to fit it in as best as I could. And if I can't, I'll talk to Claire about finding a day to like for example, if I can't do the cut on the 7th, I'll talk to Claire in advance and find another day for that, if that's okay.
Yes, Cheryl, feel free to follow up with me if any of the branch management milestones have conflicts with your final schedule, because all of them can be flexible if we need to accommodate for that.
Yes, so I'll do that. And thanks, Stephen, for making that PR. I'm a little bit swamped right now, but yeah, trying to fit everything in. Other than that, I think that's about it. And I think my shadows are getting the hang of the process so far. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.
Cool. Cheryl, just out of curiosity, how was the cut for Alpha 2 compared to 1? Was it much easier for your team?
Yes, it was. I thought this whole time for the first alpha cut was because of my setup. So I thought, what's going on? What am I not doing right? But it turns out that was just that particular commit on the /release repo. So it was from there, and I kind of learned like the inner workings of how to like put my changes onto GCP and run it there. And yeah, I've kind of learned a lot from that very first cut. But since then, there hasn't been any major changes to the /release repo. It's been smooth so far. So if yeah, I should be about the same for Alpha 3. Yeah.
Awesome. Glad to hear it was much better. Cool. Any other questions for branch management?
So more of a question for the audience. I was thinking about it recently, and I realized that I'm not sure that everyone has visibility into this. And it primarily came up because I don't have full visibility into this, but what does cutting a release look like? Would it be valuable for people to see a recording of a branch manager, a patch release manager cutting a release? I think yes. I think yes, and it would be a cool like kind of mentoring, sharding opportunity for mentoring. So if people are interested about that, like before I post it up on the mailing list, I just wanted to kind of gauge how you guys felt, guys and gals felt.
I'm seeing a lot of +1s in the comments.
Okay.
I'd like to add to that. I've made a document that contains like screenshots for each step for an alpha cut, so that might be helpful too. Maybe I could, yeah, I'll just link it on the meetings note. Yeah.
Awesome. So, mhm, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, y- yeah. The idea being that if you have access to the things that you need to have access to cut a release by watching this video, you would be able to do that. That's the goal for it.
Cool. So maybe one of our future branch cuts, Cheryl, if you're able to do a recording, or if you want someone to do a recording.
Sure. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Hannes would be interested. I'll look into it and I'll follow up with Steven perhaps.
Yeah, sure. Because like this is actually something that I was like, I don't really know how to do this myself. I would love to sit in and just watch someone do it. So like I would want to watch while the recording's happening too.
Yeah, and I think George commented in the comment section he can help record. You can add me as well as optional, just so I have the context of what we might be doing later in the release, but don't block doing this recording based on my availability. Cool. All right. Any other questions around branch management? All right, I'm hearing none. Josh can't be here today, so we don't have an update from him. If you all have any questions for Josh, his Slack handle is there, but I do know he is traveling a lot for the next few weeks at various conferences. So, moving on to release lead update. So I've put in some of the upcoming milestones that we have in the calendar. So this Tuesday, the Alpha 3 will be cut and the 111 jobs will be removed, as already mentioned. May 14th, we're planning to have the 115 branch cut and the 115 beta 0 cut. Again, Cheryl, let me know if we need to adjust those dates for your final schedule. I don't want you to feel totally overwhelmed, and school is really important. So we can be flexible if needed. 115 EU time zone meeting. Thank you to everyone who filled out the various polls on this subject. I've sent out a calendar invite that will be starting these on Wednesdays. They will be at 9 a.m. Eastern to 9:30 Eastern. So only half an hour. Don't feel like you have to attend both this meeting and the Wednesday meeting. The Wednesday meeting is offering an alternative time slot to people who are in EU or East Coast time zones who maybe this particular slot isn't super friendly for their calendars. Though I would still like to get a representative from all groups on the Monday call to give updates. And then Wednesday, we can do any follow-up updates that happen afterwards, or just do sort of a general overview for those release team members who can't attend on Mondays. Let me know if this is confusing to everyone. Also, sorry that we're starting these a little late in the cycle, but we wanted to make sure we found a time that our EU friends who can't attend the Monday call could attend. So we will start those this week. And I think the last update I had that I forgot to put in here, but Cheryl had asked me via Slack, and I think there are any PRs that are specifically related to this current release, so 115, that you need help getting approval on. You all should be able to at me to get the LGTM/approve labels applied. So if you're having PRs that just need to be merged through and you need someone to look at it, you all can feel free to use me as someone to do that. Again, mostly this is for PRs that are specifically 115 related, though PRs for anything, feel free to add me on if you want my input, but I will be helping to do any approvals for 115 related PRs that are needed. Cool. Any questions for me about release lead update? All right. Then we can go into open discussion. It looks like we have one item from Catherine around automating test infra release branch job forking.
Okay, yes. So I didn't actually put that there, but it has my name on it, so I will talk about it. So I am working or have worked on something to fully automate all of the things that the test infra role in the release team is supposed to do. I'm not sure what to say about it, to be honest. It's a thing, it's going to happen. It will make things easier for people, I guess. One fun thing worth bringing up, perhaps, is that I have discovered that in k/release, there is one of the many gigantic bash scripts is full of bad assumptions and deprecated lookups, and some of those are going to break. So if anyone knows who actually owns those so that we can talk about not breaking releases, that would be good.
Which ones in particular, Catherine?
Release-lib.sh or lib-release, I forget which way around the words go. It assumes that the test grid config.yaml file is authoritative, which it isn't. There's a proto that's authoritative and should be read instead. That's a bad assumption. It also assumes that some file that is only maintained by a deprecated tool that we are moving away from will continue to exist, which is less urgent than the test grid thing, but is also an issue.
Yes, that code is effectively unowned at this point, but yeah, that's gonna need fixing.
Release engineering owned. Catherine, would you mind opening an issue for that, just so we don't lose track of it in the meeting?
Sure.
Thank you.
And we can dig in and try to figure out what to hammer on where.
I don't think I had much else to add. One upshot of this is that the release team or sig-release or someone is going to end up needing to stamp changes to jobs on old branches. I sent an email about that to sig-release last week and nobody objected, so going ahead with that probably.
I like
yeah, so in the interim, while we figure out, like, well, we've got release engineering subproject owners-ish. Feel free to tag the release chair, so myself, Caleb, and Tim in any of those changes. We'll make sure they get pushed forward.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Not a question, but a thank you, Catherine. This is really nice cleaning.
You're welcome.
For those following along in the Zoom chat and like not maybe getting the backstory on this, some of this code is just like horrible. So anybody who dares to wade in and do something in there is just amazing. So thank you.
Also, if anyone is interested in wading in on that stuff, we also have a release engineering project board that has lots of old fun issues to try to tackle. So if anyone's interested in that,
you too can be our hero.
Cool. Anything else anyone wants to bring up to discuss in today's meeting?
So one more time, I'm really going to hammer on the project boards. I'm going to send an email out later today, as well as talk about this on the sig-release meeting tomorrow. But we have too many issues open. We have too many issues. We have too many open PRs. Like it's kind of reading through like the Tim Hawkin, oh my God, I have too many things to triage, mailing list threads. Like we have the same issue. So please make it your priority to walk that that release team board. In fact, I would like to make it a requirement that you walk the release team board for the release team meetings. It should be like, I don't want to do it this time around because you just found out about the board. But for next week, we should start doing that and making sure that everyone's issues are up to date. What usually happens is these issues bit rot over time. The signees from previous release teams are still assigned to them. They go stale, and they don't get done. So this is top priority for me.
Sounds good. Stephen, I'll connect with you offline around walking through this board in next week's call, if that sounds good. Cool. Any other questions while we have everyone together? All right. If not, then I think I'll give everyone the rest of their Monday back. As a reminder, there is an EU meeting on Wednesday. Don't feel pressured to attend both, but if you can attend the EU one and it works better, it should be on everyone's calendar. If it's not on your calendar, ping me on Slack and I will add you. All right. Happy Monday, everyone.